Why? The journalist looked to the newscaster and said, I never got started. Does it sound like anybody here? January 1st looked truly exciting. You were going to make some changes. Some things were going to change this year. But I have to tell you, no matter what changes you want in your lives, no matter how much you want the best for you, nothing will happen until you start the process. You cannot wish change in your life. I'll even go a step further, that you can't just say, but Pastor, I've been praying. For James says, faith without works is dead. You can talk about it, but until you make the changes, until you commit to action, nothing in your immediate world is going to change. You got to start somewhere. I'm concluding this sermon series, Weight Loss, Recipe for Success. This is the conclusion of that. From reading Hebrews 12, and Ian has gracefully read each Sunday the portion of the text that I wanted us to focus on. Because I found 4 suggestions for living your best life in 2019. They're not brainstorms, but they are, I think, what all of us need to know. If you want a better 2019 that is different from 2018, you're going to have to do some stuff that's different. And I'm going to just add this in there, and you're going to have to do it for the long run. Aren't you tired of just doing them diets for about 3 weeks and you shed maybe 2 pounds? And then you say, man, I done it. Now I done it. I'm there. I cooked up. You knocked off 2 pounds. You can't go back to Twinkies next week. When I read Hebrews chapter 12, a great book of the Bible, it says 4 things in those first 3 verses, and I've been telling you this all week. The first one was you need to surround yourself with former contestants, and if you don't know that, it means surround yourself with people who have done what you're trying to do. Do not take information from somebody who knows nothing about what you're trying to achieve. But I love them. They're such a good friend of mine. I love them, and they just mean a lot to me. Don't listen to them. It's not about your friendship. You want somebody who has the experience. New England Patriots do not want to get rid of Belichick today. No. You cannot get rid of Tom Brady. Not today. Now tomorrow they might get somebody else, but not today. You're not going to bring somebody into the big game who does not know how to play the game. Now, that's what they say is against the LA Rams. The Rams ain't been in a Super Bowl in about 16 years. Now, but I do need you to know this. Just because you're the underdog don't mean God is not going to raise you above. Oh, I wish I had I'm just forecasting. But I think you should surround yourself. Hear me. Stop saying you want to achieve this or that, and you keep going around naysayers. Find somebody who either has done what you want to do or is doing what you want to do. Secondly, I said, from these 3 verses, there are some things you're going to have to reject. we as a people are normally hoarders. I know none of y'all, but in other churches, there's some folks who are hoarders. And they keep everything. I think Hebrews 12 says, get rid of things, thoughts, or people who rob you from making progress. I'm going to say it again. Get rid of things. See, some of you got a problem with things. And those things are pulling you. Some of you are bombarded by thoughts. You wake up in the morning and it's already a bad day. You get up and it's bad. Then some of you are surrounded by people who don't bring added value to your life. I like saying this, but sometimes you got to tell Pookie bye. What's the girl one? Bye, Felicia. See, there's a Pookie and there's a Felicia. Some of you need to say goodbye either to Pookie or you need to say bye to Felicia. Bye, Felicia. Because Felicia is not bringing value into your life. Felicia, if anything, is draining you. Pookie is always bumming off of you. Eventually, you ain't going to have nothing. Pookie ain't going to have nothing. And Pookie eventually will leave you. So it's best to cut the ties with Pookie and Felicia. Come on, say it with me. Pookie, Felicia, goodbye. That's the only way you're going to have a better year this year. You got to let some people go. Thirdly, you got to know how to run this race. And I love this because just doing life will not bring you to a good solution. You do not reach a success or a win by doing it willy-nilly. I don't care what it is. If you're going to achieve, you've got to put all in. You got to move away from that, but it was a good thought. I think I wanted to be a cook. I don't want to be a cook. My wife wants me to be a cook, but I don't want to be a cook. And I tell you over and over, if I get in the kitchen, I ain't going to do it wholeheartedly. I ain't going to touch raw meat. It just bothers me. I don't like batter on my hands. It bothers me. But she will often say, why don't you come in the kitchen and be with me? And I go, I'll come in there and be with you, but I'm not going to touch that stuff. I'm just not. There's no reason for me to give her the impression that I'm really interested in cooking because I know the moment I do it, she's going to stop cooking. So you gotta know how to run your race. And all I'm talking about is how to do life. My brothers and my sisters, stop giving people permission to direct your life. Some of you are allowing people to tell you how to be their friend, when to buy this, when not to buy this, where not to go. They tell you what to do. Let me tell you, if you give people your mind, if you give them your heart, do you not know they're never going to do what you want them to do with it? So you got to take control of your life and run your race, not somebody else's. Don't do life willy-nilly. Set your eyesight on, I'm going to run, I'm going to prepare for this race. I'm going to get ready for life. I'm going to do the best life I can. I will say this, you do not just fall into a good life. You don't. You don't fall, I say this, you don't fall into a good relationship. I'm going to turn around for that. You don't fall into a good relationship. If you want a better relationship, you're going to have to put the time in. I don't care how much you look at Jay-Z and what's Queen Bee? Beyonce? Oh, I want to be like Beyonce and Jay-Z. You're going to have to put the time in. You know, they didn't just Beyonce didn't just wake up, Queen Bee. That last heard she was singing with some other girls at one time. Then she went out on her own. But you got to put the time in. You got to build something with your life. You got to build that relationship. That relationship does not just happen. I'll say this to couples because I love you. Don't just trust somebody because they've been married 40 years. Now you need to see the fruit of their labor. Life is not about just doing it. Man, the things that you want, you're going to have to get ready to endure the good and the bad. You must run the race with your eyes focused. And then last, I just want to add to this as we close this out. Not only must you run a good race, you must know what it is you're running for. What are you looking to? I love my wife, and I don't mean to bash her because I love her, and I'm not bashing. I ain't said nothing that she wouldn't let me say. but I tell you, I told y'all, don't go on a bike ride with her. Because my wife rides about 3 miles an hour, and she just got this, she just looked, her head looked like a radar. She just rides and pedals and look down at the flowers and all behind it. You know, the bike going every which way. That's my wife, so you ain't never going to get where you want to be riding with her. So if you got somewhere to go, don't ride with her. But if you got time to blow, then ride with her. In this life, my friends, if you're going to run it, you're going to have your best race, your best life. You got to focus in on something. You got to know what the prize is. You got to know what you're running for. You got to know what you're running to. All right. If not, you won't get to where you really want to be. So that's the focus of this series, have been on those four suggestions. And so I'm going to just kind of wrap this up today. To show my age. When I was growing up in the 50s and the 60s, there was a CBS popular game show. It was called To Tell the Truth. Any of y'all remember that? To Tell the Truth. I think there's a version that's come back now. But it's called To Tell the Truth. It was called To Tell the Truth. Boy, we used to gather around our black and white TV, that little bitty TV with them long antennas on it. Boy, we get in front of that TV, and you better not walk in front of the TV. You could get stabbed. But we will watch To Tell the Truth. And To Tell the Truth, it's about 3 challengers who are introduced claiming to be the central character. All 3 of them say they are that person. The announcer typically asks the challengers who are standing side by side, what is your name? And each challenger states, for example, all 3 of them will say, my name is Elvis Presley. Number 2 would say, my name is Elvis Presley. And then the third one would say, my name is Elvis Presley. And the celebrity panelists will listen as the main presenter will read a document about this Elvis Presley. And once he's done, the panelists get to ask each contestant some questions trying to determine if they are the real person. And so at the end, they all make their suggestion where they'll all tabulate their numbers, and they say, all right, contestant number 1, you ask the panelists, and they'll go, I'm voting for 1, and he'll get a little X. And then I'm voting for 2, he'll get a little X. And they do that till all 4 contestants have been given an X, have been given a chance to determine who are they. But it's the host who brings home the best answer, the best question. Once all the votes are in, the host will ask, will the real, in this situation, Elvis Presley, please, what is it? Stand up. And you know, you be sitting there like, I think it's number 3. And you see them kind of jockey like this. And then finally, the real Elvis Presley, or the real central figure, will stand up. And everybody, oh, I thought it was him. I thought it was him. I never thought it was him. Why would I share this story this morning? Because I'm not sure, by the way we live, by the way we act, that everybody knows who the real Jesus is. I'm afraid as I grow older, as I thinking about church in a different light and my own finiteness and my own role, I'm not all the way convinced that everybody who speaks about Jesus knows Jesus. I want to show you some pictures of who we might think Jesus is. Let me picture number 1, Ray. Y'all remember that Jesus? I grew up with that. Was in the big wall. It was huge. And when we walk into the church, we see that, and you just freeze. Now, y'all got to take into account where I was raised. I'm gonna let that simmer for a minute. I was raised in the inner city, all black city. I was raised in a part of Cincinnati where it was called Lincoln Heights. It was an all-black town. All the churches were black. All the people were black. All the women was black. All the men was black. We had black cats and black dogs. Everything was black. But when we went into church, flowing. And if you got up close, you could see his blue eyes. And so when we would praise and sang, I grew up with that image. That's Jesus. Even when I was in Africa, Deb and I, I had gone to welcome some other people from some other countries. I had to go to Kenya, and I went into an orphanage with a Sudanese. And I don't know if you've ever seen a Sudanese. A Sudanese is dark black. Now, that's not a put down, please. But his skin adapts to his natural condition. He's dark. He's black. Yeah, you heard what she said. Some of y'all didn't hear that. See, in the people of color races, and I'm talking about Latinos, I'm talking about African Americans, I'm talking about Haitians, I'm talking about Jamaicans, I'm talking about Brazilians. We go to gambit of color. Hello? You can get people who high yellow. You can get people who midday. And then I had a friend, we just call him midnight. Because we come in all them color shades. But when I grew up seeing this picture, that was the image I was told, this is what Jesus looks like. When we were in Sudan, I was at an orphanage, and they had this picture with about 70 Sudanese orphans. And on the wall, there was a picture of this and saying, "This is our Lord." Of course, I raised a little heck about that. And they probably won't have me back. I probably can't go back. But I'm going, if you show that picture to kids who are never going to understand that, there is a false pretense you may put upon them. And I wasn't trying to be funny. I was just trying to show. And then beside it, they had what they call the Holy Family. They had a white male, a white female, and 2 little white kids. And I go, they'll never grow up to look like that family. This is what race has done to us. Race has taught us that we are, those who are of this pigmentation are better than this pigmentation. And so Michelangelo painted the first picture that we know of Jesus. And so that's why we get this European effect. And so even today in this world, we think of beauty flowing from a European. That's why Miss America, Miss Universe could never be someone of color. Because we often told people, if you're a color, you're not good enough. Don't get quiet on me now. But when we look at what we thought Jesus must look like, and I think about where he's from. That's just me. But we don't have no pictures. And so that was the first picture that many people grew up with, and that's Jesus. 2, let me show you how else we looked at Jesus. We said Jesus was this. And when we talk about Calvary and we talk about the crucifixion, do you see how nice that cross is? I wish somebody would just open up their eyes. That is a nice cross. Now I'm being funny, but look how nice that little cross is. Again, that's deceptive. And so we make him to be pale. I was never a great fan of that movie by The Passion of Christ. I almost got put out of the Ministers Association here because I had men who were crying, grown men crying. So, when I think about his pain and how they whipped him and beat him all night, and they kept showing me pictures like this. I kept going, that ain't my Jesus. And they got offended. So I'm going, when I think about the cross, when I think about crucifixion, that does not come up to me. That does not register. See, the cross was not convenient, nor was Jesus trying to make a physical statement. Matter of fact, it was so hideous that the scriptures write that for the joy he did that, but we don't see really the totality of the power of the crucifixion because we're stuck on race. We see race as dying at the cross. Oh, y'all don't like that, but it's true. And so that to me is how some people worship Jesus. And I'm going, maybe. And then the third one. Of course, we had to have us a black Jesus. And so that messed with my theology growing up because I had been trained to think of the white Jesus. And so even now when we talk about the black Jesus, people get angry. People get mad because they say, hold it. I can't be worshiping that. Let's bring this home. You ever notice you don't show your kids Black Santa Claus? There's a reason behind that. Your little girls play with white dolls, not black dolls, not colored dolls. I need you to know the insidious power of sin and race. We have brought the race into the church as if it is true that God has separated us by race. I need you to know you are not separated by God by race. That is a human construct. But we were brought by God by our diversity. We are so unique that he says, I loved you in such a way. I made you the way you are. You are unique. And so when it comes to Jesus, many of us are stuck on these pictures. Yes, you are. But I just want you to know, Ray, you can take that off because I want to. He doesn't look like that, nor does he look like one, nor does he look like two. Now, this may wreck some of you when you go home today. You're going to have to take the big Bible down and put some cloth on, but I'm just telling you, what you're seeing is a construct of man. But the writer of Hebrews says, let us fix our eyes on Jesus. the author and the perfecter of our faith, we must deal with the question, who is the real Jesus? We've got to deal with that. Who is the Jesus we must fix our eyes on? That's the question that's in front of us. What is it when you say, I love Jesus? When the choir says, I love Jesus, he's my Savior. What Jesus are you talking about? My friends, to run the best race in life, the writer says something has to be done with Jesus. I don't think y'all caught that. The writer of Hebrews says, in order to run this race, let us fix our eyes on Jesus. Matter of fact, I think he's saying, fixate on Jesus. Does this mean that you need to choose picture number 1 or picture number 2 or picture number 3? I say no to all 3 of the pictures. I say the word fix means to look to undistractedly. It means maybe clearly to look at something in your mind, to think about it in the recesses of your soul. When's the last time you thought about Jesus other than today? See, isn't it funny how we wake up on Sunday mornings and we run down to church so we can feel Jesus-y? We want to feel Jesus. And so we come into church, and I love y'all, and I know you're cool people. But you geep yourself up for about 2 hours because you know Pastor might be long-winded today, so you geep yourself up. And then after you leave out here, you cuss one another out. You hurt one another. You say stupid stuff to one another. It's as if Jesus is not with you. Did you ask yourself this week, how pleasing is my behavior to Jesus? You don't ask that. You just let it fly. Somebody driving in front of you, cut you off. Now, I would show y'all some other signs, but I don't need to wreck y'all this morning. But how often do we tell ourselves, does Jesus see me today? In my relationship, how do I treat my spouse? How do I treat my best friend? How do I treat my coworker? How do I treat my boss? Because we have lost the concept that Jesus is there. See, Jesus is only at 516, or he's over at Timberline, or he's over at First Baptist. But my brothers and sisters, that is a narrow view of Jesus. The question in chapter 12, it says, why does he say fix your eyes on Jesus? When if you look in chapter 11, I read it, it often returns, chapter 11 of the book of Hebrews, of Hebrews is often referred to as the book of heroes and sheroes. Why didn't the writer say, instead of looking to Jesus, why didn't he say, let us fix our eyes on Adam? Why didn't he say, fix your eyes on Eve? Fix your eyes on Enoch, on Noah, on Abraham, on Isaac, or Jacob, or Joseph, or Gideon, or Barak, or Samson, or Jephthah, or David, or Rahab, or Mary, or Samuel, or even Moses. Why would he say, looking unto Jesus, or fixing our eyes on Jesus, the author and the perfecter of our faith? Why didn't he say, look to any of those major characters of faith? He didn't. And if we were to write it today, why would some of us say, why not fix our eyes on Washington, or Lincoln, or Kennedy, or Reagan, or Obama? Surely Chisholm, surely Miss Parks, maybe Chavez, maybe Gandhi. Why aren't we fixing our eyes on all of these great historical preachers? Why would we not say today, fix your eyes on science? Fix your eyes on technology. Fix your eyes on power. Why don't we didn't say fix your eyes on education. Surely education is going to fix us. My friends, the writer in chapter 12, 1, 2, and 3, really throughout the last of the whole chapter of 12 says, it's all about Jesus, the author and the perfecter of our faith, which simply means the trailblazer. The Greek word for perfecter is trailblazer. The Greek word for author is trailblazer, the person who begins our life. The real Jesus, before y'all leave here, is what is needed today. We do not need a Jesus of compromise, a Jesus that can redeem nobody. We don't need a watered down Jesus. Some of you have found safety in a watered down Jesus. Anything I do will go. I don't have to be committed. I don't have to be in my word. I don't have to be in the word of God. I don't have to go to church. I don't have to be a good neighbor. That's a watered down Jesus. Some of us have stripped Jesus of power. We debase him of his glory. We reduce him to a symbol. Because all of us constantly hear people saying Jesus loved everybody, which is a lie. Because Jesus did not love everybody. Oh, I wish I had time to get ugly in this thing. But Jesus often would say to Herod, he called him a fox one day. He said, go tell that old fox. Go tell that old no good king that what he's doing is wrong. Jesus does not love everybody. See, in order to follow Jesus, you got to do what Jesus does. Oh, y'all ain't caught this. Some of you are serving an impotent Jesus. Because you have scholarly, because you have academically formed in your head, you have made Jesus the way you need him. Yeah, you've become highly educated. You've become highly articulate. You've become highly in-depth in your careers. And so now you have formed a Jesus that will identify to you. Remember in the Genesis text, it opens up, let us make man in our own image. So God makes man in his image. What we've done to Jesus, we've made Jesus into our image. We have brought Jesus down to us because we want Jesus to do everything we tell him to do. Go over there, fix this, heal this, walk with me, give me money, give me a house, give me a car, give me. Come on, Jesus, if you're Jesus, you do this for me. My friends, that's what you've done to Jesus, but it may not be the real Jesus. Finally, we've made a cut and paste Jesus. So you cut and paste him wherever you want him to be. We want a Jesus who will fix our boo-boos. Jesus, I'm hurting. They hurting me. Please, Jesus, get them. We want a Jesus who kisses our boo-boos and scrapes our human endeavors. But it's R.C. Sproul who says, what we need is the Jesus named by God himself as an infant. Jesus means the Lord saves. Somebody need to say that, saves. You can't say Jesus and just walk away with it. Jesus' name itself means one who saves, or one through the Lord saves. Now, my name don't mean that. Now, I'm Dave, and that's the last I heard. My name is Dave, and you translate it in the Latin, it's the beloved one. But I don't have a name that says I save anybody. I don't have a name that says I can fix, I can help, I can strengthen anybody. I may work for the church, but I don't have the power of the church. I may work for God, but I don't have the power of God. I may talk about Jesus, but I don't have the power of Jesus. See, Jesus is the only one that saves. Oh, I wish I had a witness. He's the only one who can save anybody from anything. Y'all say, oh, now he getting commercial. No, it's true. Jesus have saved people from some crazy stuff. I was watching a Sunday morning this morning, and there's the mayor of Leavenworth, Kansas. Spent something like 10, 15 years in prison. And he takes the cameraman down the street, and he says to the cameraman, he says, "You see all them houses right there? That's where I sold dope." Cameraman got it right on him. He says, "That house, that house, that house, that house, I sold dope." And so the cameraman said, "And today, you the mayor of Leavenworth." The cameraman even went a step further. He said, "Well, become politicians, then go to jail." You flipped the script. You went to jail, and now you a politician. You know what the guy said? He said, "It took me to go to jail to get right with God. I wish I had a witness here." He go, "I had to hit rock bottom, and it's in my rock bottom that Jesus came by, and Jesus changed me from selling drugs. I'm now trying to help men and women out of that full state of drug. That's what Jesus can do." Now, y'all still ain't getting it. But Sproul says we need the Jesus. That means he saves. That he alone has the credentials to offer atonement. He alone can jump over death. He alone can reconcile people and to God. Now, I know we're saying Republicans and Democrats are all nuts and nutter butter and just crazy, and now the independent is saying, well, we're going to come and fix it. I don't care what party it is. We need some deep soul-searching fixing. I don't care who you put in at the White House. It is not a Trump thing. It's a human dilemma. We have gotten to this place by our own humanness, and somebody needs to ask the question, what can wash me white as snow? Nothing but the blood of Jesus. I wish I had a witness today. Here is where it comes to grips before y'all get out of here and you think I'm playing with you. What you ultimately got to deal with when it comes to Jesus is, what do I do about my own sin? You notice you don't never ask yourself that. You get happy. Oh, thank you, Jesus. Somebody ought to get happy when they go, thank you for revealing my sin. We got to ask the question, what do I do about my sin? It ain't Reggie. It's what do you do about your sin? You know, there are very few people who say they don't sin. They may not use the term, but very few people will say the world is in perfect condition. The world that you and I live in is filled with brokenness. How do I know so? Because we violate each other daily. We live in a world where it's okay to violate each other. The Me Too movement is just a snippet of how powerful and how bad sin has gotten. See, we think the Me Too movement is just now bringing to the forefront that women for ages have been abused. Boys and girls, it didn't just start. They were abusing women in Jesus' day. They were abusing women in Moses' day. But what it should tell you is that we have this great sin debt. We assault each other regularly. Let me bring this home. We lie to each other just straight up. And you remember there's that old family folks used to say, we lie when the truth would be just as good. We just lie to each other. I ain't even gonna go into details, but we just lie. To me, that's a result of sin. And you didn't have to lie. You could have went to the truth. But that's because you don't really feel that Jesus is real. And so since Jesus isn't real in that moment, you can lie. We are people who are wrecked by sin. Look at the wars we have. We're not just fighting in Afghanistan, but there are wars all over this world constantly. Wars that you don't even read or hear on the news. Because just by nature, by race, we try to overpower somebody. That's sin. Man, something is wrong with us. We just believe that we can insult one another. We can violate each other. We contaminate the world. Jesus told us to take care of it. Genocide. We kill thousands of people. Every time I see someone blowing up a truck that has explosives that killing groups of people, it tells me how powerful sin is. You don't even have to believe in God or Jesus, but I want you to answer me, what makes us that way? We are greedy people. Greedy. I'll take from you because I want it. That's the sin, our human depravity. We must come to grips that we are a people of dreadful turmoil. I look at our relationships, our marriages, our boyfriend and girlfriend. I look at how we deal with each other. How bad have we become? And yet we come to church and smile. But what you've shown me is you have told yourself that the Jesus you serve does not see you when you leave this place. But I'll just stop by to tell you that he's alive and doing well. God is the type of person who sent his son, not by a postal, not by a photo op, but Jesus is ever with us by his Spirit. And it's by his Spirit do we learn how to deal right one with another. Verse 3 says, and I close, consider what your faith is based on. Think about who your Jesus is. In this life, boys and girls, you need more than a Sunday love. Remember that song? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm sorry. You need more than a Sunday Jesus. You need a Jesus who goes home with you. You need a Jesus who speaks into you. You need a Jesus, old folks say, Jesus in the morning, Jesus at noonday, Jesus when the sun is going down. You need a Jesus who can be referred to as a healer because there are things in your life you cannot fix. You need a healer, Jesus. You need a Jesus who's bigger than your answers. He's got to be bigger than mine and your answers. You see, if our answers could fix us, we'd be pretty good, huh? Because some of y'all is so smart. I noticed that. We have the smartest people over in this church. Y'all are good. But I also found out you can't fix a whole lot of stuff. We need a Jesus who can meet you right where you are. I'll throw this at you. The only thing we know about Jesus, the only true thing we know about Jesus comes from the New Testament. Everything else that we read, every commentary, every lexicon, every dictionary, every encyclopedia, every Greek, Latin, German, all of it is speaking about Jesus' second nature. It's all a conception of Jesus. The only way we read Jesus is from the first century prophets and disciples. The first century disciples and prophets and writers, Matthew, Luke, and Mark, and Peter, Bartholomew, Paul, they all wrote in the first century about their initial contact with Jesus. And that's why I say they were the witnesses to Jesus. Everybody else is second nature. So anything else you're reading right now, I don't care what the title is, it's only an idea about what the first century writers wrote. So if you want to know Jesus, you stop going here and there and going to this. Go back to the New Testament and begin to read how he was born, where he was born, who his mama was, who his daddy was, what he did, who he blessed, why he left this world, went back, and the Revelation says, and he's coming back. That's all we know about Jesus. And he said, and use that until I come. The reason why you don't know the real Jesus is because you don't know the New Testament. I'll close. Story is told about a poor guy who needed a job. He was walking through the country. He came up on this farmer's house, so he went and knocked on the door, and he asked the farmer, he says, any way you could use a handyman? And the farmer said, well, I wasn't looking for one, but okay. So he said, come on in, and I'll give you a trial. So the first thing the farmer told the old poor man was, he said, go over there and split those logs and let's make some firewood. Let's stack up a pile of firewood. The old guy went out there and struck all the firewood, packed it up, got it done in record-breaking time. Farmer said, whoa, that was fast. So the farmer said, let me give you something else. So the farmer went out and said, man, I need you to plow the field. I don't have nobody to plow the field, but I need to get it ready for planting. And so the guy said, no problem, I can do it. He plowed the field, no time. Farmer said, wow, that boy good. Farmer started telling himself, man, I didn't run up on a Superman. But it was a third task that the farmer told the man. He said, this is the last and final task. He said, what is it? He took him into the barn, and in the barn there was this large pile of potatoes. And he told the man, he said, what I want you to do, I want you to separate them into two piles. He says, one pile I want you to have is for the good potatoes. And in the other pile, I want it to be the bad potatoes. The guy said, okay. Farmer left. Hour passed. 2 hours passed. 3 hours passed. Farmer said, now he did them other two jobs I told him, lickety split. I better go out here and see what this boy doing. So he went out, went into the barn, and he seen a man sitting in one pile. In the bad pile, there was 2 potatoes. In the good pile, there was 3 potatoes. Of course, that teed the farmer off. So the farmer said, now, you cut that wood, lickety split. You plowed the field, lickety split. And I give you a simple task of separating the good potatoes from the bad potatoes. What's wrong? Why are you moving so slow? The man's face looked defeated. He began to wipe his face, and shook his head, and he threw up his hands and he replied to the farmer, it's the decisions in life that are difficult. I want y'all to catch this. It ain't the things that we know how to do. It's the decisions in life that are difficult. Some of you know how to do things just like that. And you want to tell yourself, I know because I know. But brothers and sisters, this Jesus that I'm talking about, he steps in the decisions of life that are difficult. that you do not have a preset answer, that you do not know what the outcome's going to be, that you're not sure if you make this decision how it's going to turn out. It's in that moment that the real Jesus says, I'm with you. I'm going to stay with you. And no matter what comes or goes, I'm with you. Trust your decision, but trust higher that Jesus is with you. You need a better Jesus. You need a real Jesus. Will the real Jesus please stand up? You need Jesus to stand up. No more pictures. No more illustrations. You need a real Jesus. When you leave here today, I hate to tell you, you ain't leaving Jesus over here. Jesus is not behind this pulpit, even though he is. When you walk out of that door and get into your car, maybe you should tell yourself, is everybody buckle up? Shirley, you buckle up? Pookie, you buckle up? Felicia, you buckle up? But then you need to say, Jesus, is you buckle up? There's an old sign that says, dear Jesus, pilot me. I don't want to go nowhere Jesus can't go. You try to go places on Friday and Saturday where Jesus can't go. You want to slide into shops with them green crosses on where Jesus can't go. You want to go behind the back room where Jesus can't go. I got news for you. He's right there with you. He's walking with you. He's seeing you. He knows you. Fix your eyes on Jesus. Stop fooling yourself. I'm going to do it my way. Well, go on, do it your way. Jesus is still there. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to make it. I'll start off like I started off. Until you start with Jesus, it ain't going to end right. Pastor, that's just you talking. That's the answers of the ages. Start off wrong this year and try to convince yourself you're going to turn it around. If you could turn it around, you would have turned it around in 2018. I figured that out. If you could have turned it around, you would have done it in 17. Is anybody tracking with me? If you could have turned it around, you would have fit that surely by 15. Now, some of you are looking at me like I'm stupid. If we could have turned it around, we'd have turned it around when the towers failed. You know, when the towers came down, we going to get them. We going to get them. We going to get them. Weapons of mass. We still been trying to get them. No matter what we do, we still ain't got them. Y'all better wake up. A friend of mine said, you better ask somebody. If you could change the trajectory of your life, you would have already done it. But only Jesus can. And I'm not talking about picture number one. Give me picture number one. I ain't talking about picture number one. You need more than picture number one. I'm not talking about picture number two. Go to two. This is fun. Go to two. I don't need you to continuously walk around, oh, the cross, oh, the cross, oh, the cross, oh, the cross. You need a Jesus who ain't on the cross no more. Some of us, we keep singing that story. We will love ye to crucify, oh, the cross. And shake with it. You need more than the cross. And for those of you who need a color cross of Jesus, He got afro. I need a Jesus with afro. I need a Latino Jesus. I need me an Asian Jesus. I need me a Irish Jesus. My friends, what you need is a heavenly Jesus, a Jesus who comes down and loves me, and then he dies on the cross, and he picks me up, and he turns me around, and he plants my feet on solid ground. He calls me that I'm his own. He loves me in the midst of my pain. He steps into my messes, and he cleanses me, and he hugs me, and he holds me, and he keeps me. You need that Jesus. Come on, stand with me. You don't need a cute Jesus. Looking unto Jesus, the author, the finisher of our faith. I want you to walk out of here going, I need to start thinking about Jesus. You do. If you're here today